like to invite the Science and Security Board to come up and join us and to take some of your questions that you might have. And I'm looking at Alex, who's going to help me monitor the time of this part of this session. So from the media, we are available to take your questions. Yes, please. Is there a mic, Hallie, coming? We have right here. Where's the mic? Ariel, right. If you come to the front row here, just in front of Mary Robinson's seat there.
Thank you so much. Secretary General.
Could you identify yourself?
Certainly.
What news organization you're with?
Sure. Sam Hussein, I write for The Nation, Consortium News, as well as with the Institute for Public Accuracy, accuracy.org. Secretary General, isn't it imperative for the UN system to manifest itself? The U.S. Has apparently been interfering with the OPCW. There have been recent leaked documents confirming criticism that Ted Postel at MIT and others have had of politicizing of those reports. Apparently, the IAEA as well. We have the situation during the Iraq wars where the U.S. interfered with UNSCOM and UNMNIVIC, ultimately destroying them by launching wars or bombing campaigns in 1998, destroying UNSCOM and then destroying UNMNIVIC, obviously with the invasion of Iraq. Isn't it imperative that the UN system stand up to interference, especially by its most powerful member? If I could, President Robinson, you are painfully aware of the importance of civil resistance, considering the horrors in Northern Ireland that hopefully are behind us. I covered the trial of the plowshares in October in Georgia. They went on these sort of, be glad to know, almost all good Irish-American activists who went onto a nuclear base housing the nuclear Trident missile fleet. Among them is Father Stephen Kelly. He is facing decades in prison. He is currently still incarcerated. Doesn't civil action, Rachel, you spoke at the beginning of what can citizens do? These are citizens who are risking everything. They are trying to meet the prophetic moment, and they're being ignored by organizations as well as the media. Finally, to Mr. Brown.
We're going to leave it at 2.
I'm not filibustering.
I know. Yeah. We're going to have.
Trying to raise.
They're very important. Absolutely. Let's stick to 2 questions there. Yes, please, Mr. Bond.
Thank you for raising this issue about multilateralism and the work of the United Nations. Nobody said that United Nations is perfect. It was agreed upon by 50 countries at the time, 1945, immediately after the Second World War. And we have been trying to make sure that United Nations works more efficient, more accountable, more transparent way. It's something like even in our private lives, in our family lives, or in our relationship with the friends. Even though we are born all equal, all member states of the United Nations are all equal. But in reality, there is some leading country. I think that is the United States. And the United States has given this idea of creating the United Nations based on human rights and all equality and peace and security and development issues. So it's very important ideals and values which we have been cherishing. Now it's a matter how you care, particularly as the global leader. Now by any standard, by any statistics, by any criteria, everybody understands and recognizes the United States is the leading country. The leading country should do commensurate with their own privileges, now being respected as a leading country. Now then, as a former secretary, as I said, I'm deeply concerned, and as Mary just said, I'm angry by what when the United States has withdrawn from Human Rights Council. Then when they have withdrawn from UNESCO, they are not providing support, humanitarian support for Palestinian refugees, and they are unilaterally abrogating this JCPOA. Because not only the United States, it's all P5 plus European Union. Then they should have discussed this matter before unilaterally canceling this hard fought negotiation. Iran is not the easy country. Iran is quite difficult to deal with when the member state, when you agree that member states are all equal. Therefore, I'm urging that President Trump should show much more global leadership based on global citizenship. In this era of 21st century, with the transformative development of science, technology, information, what we are now discussing is just transmitted within a fraction of a second. So we are just one family. We are living in a small planet Earth. Then there is no such boundaries. Instead of building walls among and people, country, I think that he should build bridges among people and among countries. And I'm really appealing to President Trump and the global leaders to show their global leadership based on global citizens. We are all global citizens. Wherever you may be coming from, we are all same citizens. That's what I'm just urging and appealing to world leaders. Now then, there are so many issues which I've discussed. There is no architecture of nuclear governance issue. Then when the US is just stepping out of human rights, how can they say and ask other leaders who are abusing human rights and human dignity in other parts? They will lose their credibility. This is my personal worry, as well as a former Secretary General. I'm just appealing again, just to come back to global leadership based on all these ideals and values of the United Nations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson.
Maybe I can answer briefly the question about the importance of civil society, which I very much believe in for both of the issues that we've talked about. Two existential threats, and we're not on course with either to address. So that we need disruption. And you mentioned disruption on the nuclear side. I think I would prefer to focus particularly on disruption on the climate side. We see this disruption beginning to happen with children and young people and their Fridays for Future, with Extinction Rebellion, with some litigation, etc. That's a broad, bottom-up pressure that's been exerted on governments. There's also a very important top-down pressure that is now the pressure of more progressive business and investment. And voices like Mark Carney of the Bank of England, who will now take on a mandate on climate and finance for the UN, pressurizing governments. Why? Because governments are not taking the decisions they should be taking because they lack a kind of steel capacity to do that. I mean, we all understand this. The problem is the short-term horizon of elected representatives in all the countries. They want to get re-elected, so they won't take hard decisions unless there is disruptive pressure. And that is what we need.
Thank you. We're short on time and we have many questions, so I'm going to go right here with the gentleman in the suit next to Rod Ewing. Right.
Hi, my name is Xiong Kim, Voice of America, and I have a question to the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. You emphasized that all the global society has to make an effort to simply denuclearize North Korea or something else. But I think not all the country is making an effort to do that. For example, China and Russia, we need the more effort as a global key member of global society. So first question is, what do you think about the role of the China and Russia to change the Kim Jong-un's mindset to the nuclear ambition.
So we're going to leave it at one question. I know there's two,
Okay,
and everyone
yeah.
has plenty, but that's a great one and a big
That is
one.
my question,
Thank
including
you.
Kim Jong-un.
Thank you.
Everybody is very ambitious to ask all the questions around the world now. That's very good questions. Of course, the United States and the key Western countries have a very important role to play. I think, first of all, Republic of Korea. Republic of Korea is directly a concerned party. So if South and North Korea can address all these pending issues, including denuclearization, that would be much ideal and desirable. But in reality, as a nuclear power state and as one of the Security Council permanent members, then U.S. also has a very important role. Now, even North Korea recognizes and understands the United States is the country, who is playing global leadership. That's why U.S. North Korea negotiation is also very important. That really augments and complements what South Korea and North Korea can do. So we, based on mostly reconciliation and peaceful reunification process, when it comes to a nuclear issue, it's another global issue. That is why Security Council is involved. United States has been deeply involved now. The negotiation has not been progressing well, unlike heightened expectation which had happened during last 2 years, particularly since the Pyeongchang Olympic Games. And the Korean President Moon Jae-in has also shown his utmost sincere, positions. Despite such negative reactions from North Korean side, I think President Moon should also be recognized for his sincere most attitude and positions. So North Korea should really take that opportunity when President Trump was ready to engage with North Korea, and whole South Korean people are ready to engage and embrace North Korea and do whatever South Korea can do to help them, first of all, economically, make their country more, prosperous way, and also bring North Korea toward international community as one of the responsible members based on all these principles and values. That I am very much regret that North Korea has not taken the opportunity. Whatever concerns, whatever motives they might have had, but that's their problem. But they should act as a global member based on all global standards and values and principles. This is what all members of the United Nations expect North Korea to abide by. And this is a very sorry situation. Now, Russia, China can play also a very important role. Not only as one of the permanent members, they are neighboring countries. North Korea borders with China and Russia. Historically and traditionally and geographically, politically, in their ideology, they have been sharing same ideology systems. And therefore, it is important that we ask China and Russia to play and advise whatever role they can play to North Korea. This is what President Xi Jinping has been doing, and we expect more from Russian side. But at this time, I think we are going through a very difficult process, momentum, because President Trump seems to be very much engaged in domestic politics, including presidential campaign and his impeachment trial, etc., etc. So political situation, circumstances seems to be not much favorable But we should never be discouraged. We should never be discouraged. It is important that member states should really encourage North Korea to come forward to open society now. In this regard, I'd like to again go back to JCPOA regarding North Korean nuclear denuclearization process. It's important that any member state of the United Nations, including North Korea, should have reasonable expectation that whatever has been agreed upon should be implemented. And then if North Korea, from North Korean perspectives, if JCPOA, which has been with a lot of difficulty negotiated among P5 plus European Union, then it's been abrogated suddenly just with the change of US administration. Then if North Korea would, just suppose, North Korea were to engage sincerely in denuclearization process, then if there's a possibility of any other administration again change, abrogate, then it will not give much good incentive to North Korean side. Therefore, I'm really urging whatever has been agreed upon should be respected. Like climate change again, it was agreed upon by 195 member states as well as state parties. Even non-member states have joined, and now 197. Then if one of the biggest emitting countries, like the United States, withdraws from this, then whole this equilibrium will be, broken, and there will be political will be very much important. Therefore, I am really urging the United States to play a global leadership role as a global leader based on the principles and values of the United Nations Charter. Thank you.
Thank you. We've come to the end of our time. I want to, we have our excerpts available to the media to follow up.